Summer sunshine and young Australians shooting the breakers in an exhilarating run to the beach. Skimming over the water in a speedy 18-footer. Or the thrills of cricket, familiar sights on any summer weekend. But when autumn's cool breezes clear the beaches of their bathers, and surf boats, boards and reels are packed away for the winter, when the yachtsmen stow their gear for warmer days, and the season's last ball is bowled, then the playing fields are clear for the most demanding of winter sports, football. In Australia, 4 different codes of football are played. The professional game of rugby league, found mostly in New South Wales and Queensland. Soccer, the oldest known type of football, and in the true sense of the word, the only game that fully employs foot and ball. The amateur game of the line-out, rugby union. And Australian national football, or Australian rules, which has a fanatical following in the southern states. All these codes are a development of the first known game here reenacted, which dates back to the 3rd century BC. From China, it spread to Europe and across the Channel to Britain with the early invaders. There was no limit to the size of a team and no goalposts. In fact, the winners were usually the first to reach an agreed landmark. A little thing like a river was no problem. Soccer is today's oldest and only really international game of football. Overseas, crowds of over 100,000 are commonplace for grand finals, international and Olympic Games matches. In Australia, the soccer code is thriving under the influence of British and European migrants. Employing skills of ball control learned from the world's best overseas players, they're rapidly developing the game into one of the biggest and most exciting of weekend spectator sports. International matches have attracted to Australia such world-famous combinations as the Austrian Rapid team. Though they proved too good for the home side, valuable lessons were learned from the series. A visiting Chinese team, and as would be expected from the originators of the game, a display of faultless footwork that results in a spectacular goal. The popularity of all codes of the sport stems from the encouragement given to youngsters during their school days. Here, 3,000 take part in a rugby union pre-test parade. Top-line players teach ball handling that in future will prove invaluable for whatever code they may take up. They're only 4 years old and ready to tackle anything. The right way to throw into a line-out. Then it's a case of get the ball and go for your life. In a few years, these youngsters could graduate to a first-grade union club such as Gordon and receive the expert advice of a former international and Australian captain. Pre-match planning aimed at countering their opposition's strong points and exploiting their weaknesses. The game has come a long way since it was first accidentally started at rugby school early in the 18th century, when a boy, contrary to the rules, picked up the ball and took off with it at full gallop. It wasn't cricket or football, said the sportsmaster, but it was the variation that led to 15-a-side game of today. To qualify for a union final, players must be young, strong, and physically fit, as are the members of the Manly and Northern Suburbs teams. A feature of the game is the rucks, where play sometimes becomes a little rough as forwards battle for possession. As union is an amateur code, the main incentive for top players is selection in touring teams or to represent their country against the overseas teams that regularly visit Australia. Matches against Fiji, New Zealand, South Africa and the British Isles always produce sparkling football. Here, perfect teamwork as New South Wales scores against the British Isles. The professional version of rugby, league as it's called, was adapted from the amateur game early in the 20th century. In an effort to speed up play, a man tackled was allowed to stand up and play the ball, and the scrum was used instead of the line-out. Teams are made up of 6 forwards, usually heavily built men who are the strength of the team, and 7 backs who supply the speed and penetration in attack. A typical final at Sydney Cricket Ground, and nearly 70,000 are present to see St George and Wests in action. Oddly enough, one of the men responsible for the introduction of league in Australia was a cricketer, Victor Trumper. Having seen the game overseas with its speedy three-quarter line movements, he decided it would be successful here, and he became its first treasurer in 1907. Regular test series against England, France and New Zealand have shown the standard of our teams. Kicking plays an important role, and if the ball goes between the posts and over the bar, it scores 2 points. Slow motion again proves the value of physical fitness. When in tense moments of the game, they can give as well as take. Watch closely as a fumbled ball in a three-quarter line movement is beautifully intercepted, resulting in a try right between the posts. Finally, the game that is Australia's own brand of football. Over 100 years ago, the National Code of Australian Rules was introduced to Victoria. In those days, the idea was for a game to keep cricketers together in the winter months. The game has come a long way since those days and now has by far the greatest following of any of the codes. A grand final has drawn a crowd of over 115,000. There's just no way to dampen football fever in the southern states, and even on the coldest winter's day, it's often standing room only. An amazing club following is one of the main reasons for the great success of the game, combined with its speed, which makes pre-match preparations of the utmost importance. A big team of masseurs works on star players for almost an hour before an important game. Precautions are taken against the dangers of injury during high marking. There's a real carnival atmosphere about Grand Final Day when team supporters band together to cheer on their favourites. In the past, this following has caused concern to organisers, for on more than one occasion, the crowd has become so excited they've swarmed onto the field, stopping play. Teams have been reduced from 40 a side in the earliest days to today's 18, from the two-day matches of 100 years ago to 4 25-minute quarters. Waving of 2 flags denotes a goal which scores 6 points. Long, accurate kicking is a feature of the game, but the move that sets up scoring opportunities is the mark. After the player marks the ball, he's allowed a kick, and when it's near the posts, the champions just never miss. The Melbourne Demons, wearing white shorts, have the impressive record of playing in 7 consecutive grand finals. Collingwood, the Magpies, opposing Melbourne here, have the unequalled Victorian Football League record of 4 successive premierships. As in other types of football, there are some tense moments, but the umpire is quickly on the scene to stop any incident. In front of the posts, another beautiful mark, and as final bell time is near at hand, the crowd sense victory for their team. victory that makes them champions of their code. Their reward for a winter of hard training and good football, but a trophy that means summer is just around the corner. And for players and fans alike, a 6 months wait till next football time.